Welcome to Transfiguration in Oakdale podcast. We put these out once a week, typically on Sunday mornings. We really hope that they can inspire you to live your Catholic faith with vigor and zeal. This week is a little bit different. We didn't have time to record something. Well, maybe we had time. We just didn't put forth the effort. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. My last podcast with Matt Mulligan was a little bit different. Maybe we talked about two different things, and I didn't want people to miss out on the first part. So we're going to replay it here as its own podcast, but I'm going to give a little introduction to it and tell you why we're doing that as well. So here at Transfiguration, our mission, our goal is to lead all those in the East Metro to Christ, the source and summit of our daily and eternal lives. So we want to do that in a lot of different ways. And one of those ways, are kind of our rallying cry right now, one of the ways we want to initiate that is to galvanize a community of invitation to Jesus Christ. So galvanize, we want to bring together a community. We want to be a part of a community, bring people together to talk about Christ, to talk about our faith journey, and specifically an invitation. So inviting people into our lives and then inviting people into this relationship with Christ. I firmly believe you got to have a part in their life first before you just invite them into Jesus. Now, there are a lot of great apostolates out there, especially St. Paul's Street evangelization, where they don't have any relationship and they're just representing Christ and they're willing to talk to strangers about it. But I think one of the best ways to do it is to invite people into our lives a little bit more. And then we can start to talk to them more about our faith. And one of those ways is to invite them over to your house for Lord's Days and just invite them over for play dates with kids and meals and hanging out. And the Mulligans have been doing a good job for a while. And so this beginning of the last podcast, we're going to highlight here. So I hope you enjoy and you get something out of it. And you can find some inspiration to do it yourself. Let's do it. Welcome back to Transfiguration in Oakdale. It's a podcast that we try to do every single week. Every once in a while we miss a couple weeks. We get a little busy. But tonight we have Matt Mulligan with us, and I want to remind all of our audience, Transfiguration exists to bring all those in the East Metro to Christ, the source and summit of our daily and eternal lives. And if that is a little confusing to you, I want to embarrass Matt before we get started. I did not tell him this was happening. But
oh boy.
The Mulligans, in our discussions about how can we, at Transfiguration, best portray what bringing Christ to the East Metro looks like, the Mulligans got brought up, and I brought them up.
Uh-oh.
Because of...
I'm sorry, Missy.
Their summer get-togethers.
Hey.
And I thought this is a great way to invite our neighbors in the East Metro to just hang out with us. And if we end up talking about Jesus, great. If we don't, that's fine. And hopefully our houses have Jesus all over them when they come over. They see Jesus all over, and the next time we can invite them to church, and the next time we can invite them to a talk or a man night, smoker poker, ladies night, whatever else. So I wanted to spotlight the Mulligans, and maybe if you could talk for a little bit about what was the impetus to do those summer gatherings, and are they coming back this summer? I'm just kidding. I won't put any pressure on you to bring them back.
That's the $1 million question.
Right now, the governor will not allow it yet.
Yeah, right, yet.
So I don't want you to get arrested.
Hopefully next year. Hopefully 2022 that we'll start that up again. But no, the background of it was that so last year, 2019, I guess 2 years ago now, 2019, the summer, every other Sunday we had essentially an open house, Sunday afternoon to evening, and we provided dinner. And we said, hey, each week, come if you want, just RSVP ahead of time so we can buy enough food. And we served people food. They brought sides and things to share if they wanted, or sometimes we had like lemonade or beer or something.
Kids to share.
Kids aplenty. There, there was like this giant herd of kids running around in the backyard, and the parents are up on the deck, and just really hanging out and connecting with one another. And the whole idea behind that was just to find a way to casually just get people in the same community talking to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just moved to the neighborhood, and we're still there now. So we didn't really know anyone, and it was like, how can we informally meet people without being creepy? And it was like, hey, look, we're gonna do this thing. No pressure. Come over if you want, and you don't have to. If you do, just let us know. Bring something to share. Whatever you like, and no commitment. Either way, we're not hurt. There's going to be 30 other people running around. So, and it was great in that. Like we had been previously living in a area. I can't call it a community. It wasn't a community because we met like a handful of neighbors in 5 years. That people just came, they got home, they shut their garages, and you never saw them outside. So it was like you never could meet them. Mm-hmm. Plus, we were on a busy street with no sidewalk, and so there was no way to interact with people. It was just cars going by. So then coming to the new location, we said, okay, we're going to be very purposeful about reaching out to people around us, because that's how we're going to just build up a better society, is make something so simple that neighbors want to see each other. And at the end of the day, if they just want to see each other, they're going to want to help each other. And what does that become? Well, it's the definition of love. When you help someone else, you're loving them. And to build up that little bit of love in the community, who knows what that could do. So,
yeah, we're there. So for the person out there that's like, oh, that's great for the Mulligans, and Matt is sanguine, so he's cool with having people over at his house and entertaining and all that type of stuff. So if you could speak to maybe even the ease of it, or some of the difficulties you had to overcome, or some of the anxieties that you might have had before that first one or the second one or whatever.
Well, my wife is not a sanguine.
No.
So she would get overwhelmed with crowds, but and that still was a hurdle for her. Even by the end of the summer, she'd be wiped out at the end of the day. And that was just something that she said, well, okay, I'll deal with it. It's one day every couple weeks. It's not, it's not going to kill me. I have some friends here, so I'll be fine. And so that was a challenge. The very first one, we were just like, oh my gosh, like running around crazy. And it was because we felt like we had to host these people.
Yeah, it's like, feels like a grad party. It's
right.
In the summer, you got to clean everything up,
right.
Got to fix the deck.
Right. And we didn't have to host them. It was like we were opening the space and just let people do their thing. And like, hey, if you need something, come ask, otherwise here's the deal. I'm not going to babysit you while you're here, especially the little kids. I'm not going to babysit the kids, but that was really challenging at first to be kind of relaxed about it. Mm-hmm. It's interesting opening up your house to people that you don't know super well. But there's nothing like, it's like a own personal insecurity that, once you do it, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so like the benefit of it was just awesome. Like it was awesome.
Yeah. We came to 2 or 3 of them. I don't remember.
Yeah.
We didn't come to the first, we're, I don't know, out of town or too cool or something. I don't know. But we came to at least 2 of them, and it's just relaxed. It felt very human, just like we're humans. We have kids, or you don't have kids, but we live in the same neighborhood. Let's just hang out together. We're communal people. Let's just do that thing, and we don't have to make it. It doesn't have to be a themed party or something. Just come and hang out. I thought it was wonderful. It was really great. I hope it inspired others to do it as well. And I hope you listening to this, it inspires you to. Now, you don't have to do the exact same thing, but I think, talk about it as a family. What can you do in your neighborhood to get to know some people, or invite them over for Lord's Day, or whatever? Invite your neighbors for your birthday party. Like, ooh, that's weird. Like, I don't know why that's weird. They live right next to you, for goodness sakes.
It got so easy to invite people, though, because we had this thing. And so we went to a local brewery once, and there's us, the family out there. We had all the kids running around on the patio, and we met these few other families. They were in their same position. The mom and dad, we were having a beverage, and the kids were playing, and it was like, hey, you got kids, we got kids. So this is going to seem weird, but we do this thing every other Sunday. We'd love you to come. There's going to be a bunch of other people there. Don't worry. You can, we'll introduce you to the people we know. And we actually got people to come to it that we had literally just met weeks before. And they're like, hey, sounds fun. I'm in. But it was so easy to be like having that in place. So we're doing this thing, and that was all it took. That was all it took, was just that simple little invite. Now, did you go to your immediate neighbors and invite them as well? Or so we came a couple times. I wasn't sure who was like an immediate neighbor, or you met them at the bar. We did. Yeah, we did.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is that awkward as well?
Yes. Yes. And how we've talked about it, like next year, like we said, probably not this year. I think just people are still going to be skittish, and, us included, like, hey, what's going to happen? What's going to be allowed, et cetera. But next year, or whenever we're able to do it again, that we would make it very much like a neighborhood thing. Like,
yeah. You got the park like right behind your house too. It's easy to, you could have 100 people there and they'd still be 10 feet apart if you really wanted to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You just have to come together for the barbecue. That's about it.
Because since then we've met a ton of especially other families that live nearby us too. That 2 or 3 we just met. We met another family this week. They were walking along the path, and they had 4 little girls, and got to chatting with them, and they live 3 blocks away. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, hey, this is perfect. Let's get to know you guys. That's how we're going to do it. Really, really get to know your neighbors, because it was something that we sorely, sorely missed in our first house, and we were very purposeful about it this time around.
I also thought it was cool that you also invited some people from outside your neighborhood. Yeah, and I don't know if that was on purpose to kind of like fill the pot full of church people, but it is kind of cool. Like, oh, all these other people, are they from the neighborhood? And they're like, oh, no, they're from the church. Like, our church is cool. We got people that we're friends with, like they have kids and they're normal and they still go to church every week too. Yeah. No, it's in that regard, it's a great way, like a great way to enter into the relationship with the church, with our, Transfiguration here. That you can say that because it's a topic of conversation. That I'm not out there hitting someone over the head with a Bible, but we prayed before we ate. Like, that was, we were Catholic because we said, in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, bless us, O Lord, before we ate dinner. And it was like, all right, everyone, we're gonna pray. And it wasn't the first time you did it, because the kids could do it too. Like the kids weren't like, Dad, you never pray. Why are we praying now?
Yeah. Wasn't embarrassed by that one. Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, the kids are, that's like, oh, this is normal. We pray before dinner. Okay. Right. Yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, that's cool.
Yeah. And I was just like, hey, if you don't want to pray along, just please, I just ask you to be respectful. And, I added like a little side prayer for my, Lutheran friends on top of it, my Protestant friends of the, Lord,
Lord Jesus, be our guest.
Well, no, not the cliche one, but the spoken from the heart, Jesus and, me are buddies, and talk to the Lord, kind of thing. So good. Us Catholics don't always do that. So we're the church of the both and, though, so we should. We ought to. We should, yeah. All right, that's enough embarrassing the mulligans. Missy can thanks, guys. Listen later with a red face. and I hope that listeners and you can think of ways that you can do something similar. Invite
people, I think you can hear that it wasn't really that hard and it's not that complicated.
No, I ordered Costco pizza.
You don't have to make it crazy,
no.
And it's not that hard.
It wasn't fancy. It wasn't. Yeah.
And you know what? If they don't come over, that's fine. It's okay. We're a little excited in our neighborhood that there's like 3 young families that just had moved in or just had babies. So we're kind of excited. We don't really have a neighborhood either, but we're kind of forming a nice little community there. And we my wife and I run past their house enough that it'd be creepy if we didn't talk to them, actually. So we've been saying hi quite a bit recently.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me this week, Matt. It was an honor to talk with you. I hope that this has inspired our listeners to invite people into their lives. And hopefully their lives are holy so that they're a billboard for Christ, and that when they invite them in, they see this life of Christ is a joy-filled life. So please invite someone. Invite someone to church. Invite someone over for brunch. Invite someone over to play some games, some yard games outside, and social distance with masks on or whatever. But invite people into your life. It is a little bit vulnerable and difficult to do, but it's worth it. God bless.